Pokemon has been one of my favorite games since I was just a little kid, and Pokemon Omega Ruby was the first ever Pokemon game I ever owned. And I instantly fell in love with a little fish type Pokemon named Mudkip. And today I will be honoring my favorite game and my favorite Pokemon by completing a Pokemon Nuzlocke. A Pokemon Nuzlocke has some pretty simple rules to follow. Here are a few of some of the simple rules that I try to follow in today's video. Without further ado, let's get this show on the road. After setting up the clock and watching the new girl next door change, I run outside to discover that Professor Bitch needs my help. I proceed to steal his happy little fish and put a dog down with it. He thanks me and he gives me my new friend Fish Lips. After receiving an anonymous tip from the girl next door about having a fight in the woods, I was quickly realized it was not the fight that I thought it was. After beating the second best starter in all of Hoenn, stealing her lunch money, and for her to heal my Pokemon after beating hers to an absolute pulp, I run back into the professor's lab, join a Pokedex, and then run right back into the tall grass to catch a nice little doggo I like to call Bella, named after my late dog that passed away during a car accident. After bullying a lot of kids in Route 102, we tippy-toe over to a little patch in the grass for our second encounter of the playthrough. We find a little itty-bitty Seedot. We catch the Seedot and name it Seed. After running around Route 104, we get our fourth encounter of the Let's Play, Zigzagoon. We catch the Zigzagoon and call it its proper name that everybody else uses it for. As we walk around the forest, we try to find our fifth Pokemon of the Nuzlocke. We run into a little bitty Slackoff. It takes a little bit after a lot of Pokeballs, and we actually decide to catch it. That was a pain. I decided to name it Shrek, hopefully so it can blossom into a Slacking. After getting all the team that we have so far, we head up over to Rustboro City to challenge the Rock-type gym leader herself, Roxanne. Roxanne leads off with Geodude, and I lead off with Mudkip. I lead off with Water Gun and barely hangs on with Sturdy. Geodude hits me with a Rock Tomb, lowering my speed just a little bit. Roxanne uses a potion to delay the inevitable, but all it needs is one little Water Gun to knock it down. Next up is her ace, Nosepass. After a couple of Water Guns, the Nosepass finally goes down, earning us our first gym badge of the run. After defeating Roxanne, I go to Route 116 to try to catch a new member of the team. I run into a Tailo, catch it on one ball, and decide to name it Ari, after Jaden Animations. After making a little girl's marrow see Arceus himself, my little Fish Lips decided he wanted to evolve into an abomination only a mother could love. After going in the cave to retrieve a pet bird, I run into a little normal type named Whismer. I catch it after a couple of balls and name it Child, after a Pokemon Select that I have with one of my friends. After rescuing the old man's bird and getting a letter for the champion, we set off to the New Horizons to battle the next gym leader and deliver the letter. After beating a random hiker's ass that's somewhere near the cave area that needed to go, Seed decided he wanted to evolve into a new born metamorphosis that has nipples. After fighting a bunch of little girls in the gym, I decided to challenge the main head bro of the Planet Fitness. First he sends out a Machop and I decided to counter it with Ari. I set up a wing attack to go first, hopefully knock it out one shot, but it lives, but it uses Leer. Ari's defense falls, but it's okay, so we just finish off with another wing attack. After Machop's death, he sends out a Makuhita. After a couple of wing attacks, he too has fallen victim to the vicious Ari as we earn ourselves the second gym badge of the run. After becoming the best gym bro in all the land, we'd run into the champion of the league and also the second biggest fuckboy in all the region, Steven. He spit some plot at us for a little bit and decides to go down his merry way. After actually seeing some plot and meeting the person I don't know if it was a guy or a girl, we ran into the girl next door and gave her a beating so bad that even Chris Brown would crack a smile at it. We also met the Make-A-Wish kid, who we fulfilled his dream of seeing Juice WRLD in real life. As we were kicking ass in the electric gym, our Ari decided she wanted to become a bigger Ari. She'd be evolving into one of the most OP Pokemon in this entire playthrough, Swellow. We breezed through the trainers, and now it is time to fight Watson for the third gym badge of the run. He leads off with a Magnemite, and I lead off with Fish Lips, because of the type advantage. I use Mud Goblin to try to one-shot it, but it hangs on with the Sturdy. It tries to finish me off, but to no avail. I try to finish it off with Tackle, but it uses a potion to try to keep the fight alive. It tanks the Tackle, and then I try to finish it off with a Mud Bomb, but he avoids it and hits a Tackle. I use Mud Bomb one more time, and it hits this time and knocks out the Magnemite. Next, Watson sends out his Magneton. I use Mud Bomb trying to knock it out, and I knock it out with one shot. Next, Watson sends out his last Pokemon, Voltorb. Voltorb uses Rollout to try to get some chip damage in, but one Mud Bomb is enough to secure the victory. After the battle is over, Bella decides she wants to grow up from a puppy all the way to an adult. After bullying even more kids on every route, Shrek decides she wants to evolve into a bigger Slick. I also find a Numel on her fiery path and decide to name it Habil. A little story, and up a mountain later, we are faced with fighting one of the Team Magma grunts. Its Numel used lava plume, almost killing Shrek, but Shrek was burned in the process, earning us the first death of the Nuzlocke. We take our revenge on the misgendered bastard himself, and take him down with ease. I first had to replace the dead. Next thing we do is take our unboiled rage, kick anybody's ass that gets in our way, and then take it out on the gym leader. She sends out a slugma as I send out my fish lips. I start out with using a little bit of a water gun, hoping to one-shot it, but it barely stays alive since after a sunny day. I try to finish it off here, but she uses a hyper potion to keep it alive. I use a rock slide to see what it can do, and it one-shots it. Next Pokemon she sent is a Numel. I use water gun on it to hope to knock it out one-shot, and I do just that, with a crit. Her last Pokemon is a Torkoal. I use water gun home for big damage, but to no avail. Torkoal uses Curse to raise his attack and defense. My next turn I use Dig, as Torkoal uses another Curse. My dig gets up hitting as it barely does anything. After a couple more digs, Torkoal finally goes down, earning us the 4th gym badge and getting us revenge on our fallen brother. After the 4th gym, I immediately go to one of the hardest battles in all of this playthrough to fight my father, Norman. He leads off with one of his slackings and I lead off with fish lips. He leads off with a yawn and I try to go underneath the ground and go for a dig. As he's hit with his ability, I try to get some good damage into no avail as fish lips falls asleep. I switch into C to see if there's anything that he could do as he tries to do an Encore. Slacking uses Encore, which forces me to keep using Growth. After a couple of turns, Slacking uses Retaliate and one-shot Seed. I use the Pikachu that I used to replace Shrek. I try to use Thunder Wave to try to paralyze it so it can't do any more damage. I try and use Double Team to try to raise my elusiveness, but Retaliate hits me and one-shots the Pikachu as well. I switch into Bella to try to lower its attack stat and try to get some chip damage in as well. Bella uses Bite to try to get some equal chip damage as she's loafing around. Bella uses Bite again as Slacking uses Yawn and makes Bella drowsy. I send in Fish Lips who's already asleep as I get next to a Vigoroth. I'm fast asleep so I can't do any attack as Vigoroth uses Retaliate to get a lot of damage off of me. As I try for a Rock Slide, I'm so fast asleep and another Retaliate hits Fish Lips hitting the yellow. I have no choice but to heal Fish Lips to try to hope for the best. I use Dig, but again, still fast asleep as Retaliate hits me for a 3rd time. Fish Lips finally wakes up and actually uses Dig. Vigoroth tries to use Retaliate but misses horribly, and then Fish Lips takes some chip damage as another Retaliate hits me in the head. Fish Lips uses Rock Slide and try to take out the Vigoroth and succeeds. As I send in Lanoon, Norman sends out his beefy Slacking. I send out Slave so I can try and heal Fish Lips from the last battle. After Fish Lips is healed, I try to get some little chip damage in and try to get advantage of his ability. After that, I switch back in Fish Lips as Slacking hits Retaliate, hitting me right in the yellow. I use Dig to fully capitalize on Slacking's ability and try to get as much damage as I possibly can. Dig does a decent amount of damage as I go for one more as he hits another ability. I connect with another Dig as he misses a Retaliate, knocking him into the yellow. Trying to get as much damage as I use another Rock Slide, trying to hopefully knock it out, but alas, it goes into red. I switch into Slave to try to finish it off, but Norman uses a potion and puts Slacking back up to full health. I heal Fish Lips one more time with another potion as I wait for the inevitable death. After a couple turns, Slave finally goes down to Retaliate, marking another death for our team. I send in Bella, trying to use the ability to try to get his attack even lowered even more. Slacking uses Swagger on my Sleep Mighty Anna to actually get more advantage on me than I thought. After a couple of turns, Slacking uses Retaliate and almost killing Bella, but Bella wakes up and uses Bite to get some chip damage in. I know there's no way that she makes it out alive, so I hope to get a couple more chip damage before she perishes. I watch in horror as Bella gets another shot, killing her. I send in Fish Lips to hopefully kill this monster once and for all. Due to its ability, I try to get some damage to try to kill it, but it doesn't kill it one shot. Slacking uses Swagger and to get me confused, but my attack raises sharply. I hope and pray, and alas, the monster is finally dead, and we finally win our 5th gym badge, but sadly, we lost basically everybody to this monster of a man. With a heavy heart, we must put all the departed into the box. Their souls will always be remembered, and we will avenge them in the end. I promise, brothers. I promise. Trying to do any bit of damage control possible, I find a Trapinch over in the dusty area right next to town and name her Dirt. After that, we run into a Latias that needs our help on a neighboring island. We fly over to the island to go help her out, and then we're confronted by Team Magma themselves. We defeat Team Magma and then capture a Latios and then name him Jet. We also get a Mega Ring that lets us Mega Evolve. After returning back to land, I run into the tall grass and find an Electrike. I catch it and name him Chip. After putting on some funny little goggles and scaring a chameleon away, we run headfirst right into the next gym. The next gym leader I have to go against is the flying type gym leader. I figured this was going to be one of the hardest gyms to do because I don't have anything to counter flying, but I was wrong. She leads with the swallow and I lead with fish lips. The opponent uses double team to try to get some evasiveness down, but fish lips uses rock slide and knocks it down in one shot. Next she sends out her ace, Altaria. I use rock slide to try to get some big damage in and I almost kill it one shot as Altaria sets up a cotton guard. She uses a hyper potion and I try to finish it off with a puny surf. However, they did not work in my favor. I go for rock slide to try to take it out and hope and pray, but it did nothing. After several turns, we finally take out the Altaria. Next up, Pelipper. I use rock slide to see how much it does, but it almost kills it surprisingly, as she hits me with the water pulse. Due to low PP, I just use Surf to try to finish off the Pelipper. Her fourth and last Pokemon is the Skarmory. I use Surf to try to get it down good enough, and I almost kill it. After a couple of missed serves, one finally hits, knocking out the Skarmory, earning us the 6th gym badge of the run. After making some quick alterations to the team and watching some plot happen, we run over to the next gym. The 7th gym is the Psychic type double battled Wasters, Tate and Liza. They send out their Lanoon and Solrock while I send out Fishlips and Ari. I use Fly with Ari so she can get out of the way of Fishlips' Surf. It almost knocks out Lunatone, while Solrock uses a Rock Slide. They use a potion to heal up both of their Pokemon. We do another Fly/Surf tactic and hopefully it ends up for the best. Lunatone goes down, and soon enough so does Solrock, earning us the 7th gym badge of the Nuzlocke. Nothing too interesting happened after that fight, just big green light, fucked up Maxie again, rode a Pokemon, and then caught it. And oh yeah, save the world. Next up is fighting the biggest fuckboy in all of Hoenn, Wallace. He leads off with a Love Disc and I lead off with Carly, who is now a Vileplume. After a couple of Mega Drains, the Love Disc finally goes down. Next up is his ace, Melodic. I quickly switch into Fish Lips and hoping for the best as he hits me with an Ice Beam. After a couple of Earthquakes, a Melodic goes down, no problem. Next up is his Wish Catch, which we Mega Drain and kill, no problem at all. Next up is his Tankly Celio. I switch into Fishlip, tanking an Aura Beam to no avail, and as I hit him with the Earthquake, it dies one shot. Last but not least is his Seeking that we slowly chip away with Mega Drain until it inevitably dies, and then it earns us the 8th gym badge of the run, making us one step closer to beating the champion. Before we challenge the Elite Four, we decide to evolve our Vulpix into a Ninetales. After running around Victory Road and making it to the Pokemon League, we take our first steps in becoming the champion, fighting the first Elite Four member. He leaves with Maniana as I leave with Fishlips. I Mega Evolve Fishlips and prepare for the first battle, but on my journey to become a champion. I use Earthquake to try to take it out, and I almost take it out one shot. After a couple of heals, so he finally goes down to an Earthquake. Next I send out Ari as he sends out his Shiftry. I use Fly to try to get super effective hit on Shiftry, and it kills it one shot. Next I send out Carly as he sends out his Sharpedo. After a while of back and forth, I send out my Death Fodder so I can heal up the rest of my team, as it takes one for the team so we can keep going on our journey to the champion. Thank you, Jet. Your memory will always be remembered. I send out Ari to hopefully try to get some more chip damage as I use a Fly. Sharpedo tries to use a Crunch but fails, and as Fly hits, it kills it one shot, but Ari gets hurt because of Rough Skin. I send out Fishlips as he sends up Outsole. I try to hit it with an Earthquake to see what it does, and turns out it kills it one shot. I send out Ari as he sends out Cacturn. As I go up with Fly, tries to use Leech Seed but fails, and one Fly is enough to take good care of him and getting us our first victory of the Elite Four. Next up was the Ghost Elite Four member, Phoebe. She sends out a Dusclops and I send an Emo, the Absol. Hopefully I try to get as much damage as possible because he's a little underleveled. I use a Night Slash to see how much damage it does, and somehow it gets all the way to the yellow. He hits a Curse, so that's a definite kill for him, but I actually get cursed as well. She sends out a Sableye, I send out my Swampert and Mega Evolve him. I hit it with the Earthquake to hopefully do some big damage, and it kills it one shot. I send out Emo again as he sends out a Bayonet. The pressure gets to him, and then I use a Night Slash to hopefully try to kill it, and it surprisingly kills him one shot. Next she sends out Dusknoir, and I try to Night Slash it again and hope for big damage, and it just gets into the yellow. Ice Punch hits Emo, and he takes it out again with another Night Slash. I send out Fishlips one last time as she's on her last Pokemon, hitting it with her Earthquake and killing it one shot, earning us the second victory of the Elite Four. Next up we have the Elsa ripoff, which specializes in Ice types. She sends out a Glalie while I send out my Ninetales, Flamba. The Glilly sets up a hail trying to get some chip damage on all my team as I hit Flamba with the flamethrower. All it took is one more flamethrower and the first Glalie down. I Mega Evolve my fish lips and she senses the wall grain as I hit it with the earthquake as they use a blizzard. She uses a potion while I use another earthquake hoping for more damage, but I get a crit one shot. I send out Flamba as she sends out her Frost Slash. I think I'm faster, but turns out I'm not going to get hit confused rate, which is going to have a big buffer in my plans. The flamethrower gets off, but sadly, she avoids it. I send an email to hopefully try to delay the inevitable, but she hits an ominous win. But she gets every speed boost and boost imaginable. I try to see if I can outspeed, but one blizzard and emo goes down. I send in Fish Lips as she sets up a hail, and I use Surf to knock out the Frost Slash. I send in Fish Lips again, and then I use Earthquake on the last Frost Slash to try to knock it down. She sends out her last Glalie as I use her Rock Slide and kills it one shot, earning us the third victory of the Elite Four. Next up, the last Elite Four member, the Dragon Master, Drake. He sends an Altaria while I send in Fish Lips. I Mega Evolve Fish Lips and kill the Altaria really quickly with a Rock Slide. Next he sends out a Flygon with a couple of Surfs that goes down with ease. Next Pokemon up is his other Flygon that he used, which goes down the same fate as his brothers. Next up he sends out his Salamence. After a couple of Rock Slides it goes down no problem. He sends his last Pokemon Kingdra. After a couple of Earthquakes it finally goes down, earning us the final victory of the Elite Four, leaving only the champion left. As I face the champion himself, I feel a chill down my spine as everything that I've ever accomplished up until this point, all the deaths, all the victories, have all come down to this one moment. He sends out a Skarmory as I send out Fish Lips. Wasting no time, I Mega Evolve my Swampert and try to hit Skarmory with a Rock Slide, but it sends out a Spike. I hit it with the Surf as it hits me with the Toxic, and as Steven hits his first full restore of the afternoon. I hit him with the Surf and to try to get back to the yellow as I take more damage from poison. One more Surf and then that Skarmory is as good as dead. I send out Carly as Steven sends out Credilli, one of the only Pokemon that can counter all of my team. I open up a Tox to try to get some chip damage in as it uses Confuse Ray on my Carly. After a long back and forth, the poison finally sets in, knocking out the Credilli, knocking out one of the only threats to my team. Next up is one of his aces, Claydol. After a long lengthy hell battle, one Surf finally knocks on the Claydol, making only 3 Pokemon left for Steven. He's centering his bulky Alcron, but I almost hit a one-shot, but it hangs on from sturdy. It hits me with an Earthquake that basically does no damage as I quickly finish up with a Water Pledge. Next up, his Bud Rock type, Armaldo. It barely hangs on, but he hits me with an X-Scissor that does basically no damage, as I finish it off with a Water Pledge, leaving only his ace, Metagross. I send out Carly as he Mega Evolves his Metagross. I try to get a Toxic in, but he outspeeds me and kills me one shot with a Zen Headbutt. Next up, I have no choice but to self-sacrifice Flamba as she is too, gets hit with the Zen Headbutt and dies one shot. To try and delay the inevitable, I send in Ari to try to get some chip damage in. She's always been my biggest aces of this team as she dies one shot. That was one of the only depths that really hit me right in the heart, as I send in Fish Lips to try to avenge his fallen brethren. Metagross tries to use Zen Headbutt to kill him one shot just like everybody else, but he fails. Fish Lips hits an Earthquake hitting him right in the red. I use a full restore to try to quickly heal, but then Metagross hits a Giga Impact, and Fish Lips barely holds on. I take this time to heal and tank another Giga Impact right to the head. As all the strength of all of our fallen brethren comes across, Metagross goes down to a crit super effective Earthquake. As Fish Lips, my starter from the beginning, was there to the very end, as we win the Pokemon Omega Ruby Nuzlocke. As we walk into the room, we look back on what everything has happened. All the deaths, all the loss, all the sacrifice. My buddy, my partner in crime, there from the very beginning, survived the entire hardships, watched all the deaths, watched all the heartbreak, and put it among himself, and finished it off himself in the only way he saw fit. I was not the champion in this scenario. The true champion was the little mudkip that I raised all the way back in Litterroot, Fish Lips. I hope you all enjoyed this Pokemon Omega Ruby Nuzlocke. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed playing it. Please let me know if you want to see more videos like this by commenting down below, seeing what games you want me to Nuzlocke, and by hitting that subscribe button and hitting that like button as well. Thank you all for joining me on this journey, and I'll see you guys in the next video.